gonna have a conversation about who I think the top 5 Jenny players are in North America and South America, so that would basically include Mexico. So the reason this conversation, the only reason I even want to have this conversation is because this topic has been popping up a lot more since I guess I started, playing the game again. And even before I started getting back into competing again, I've been hearing this talk a lot, and it's around more than people think. It's just, if you're a part of the right circles or the right Discord groups or even the right Twitch chats or hell, even Reddit communities, you're gonna hear people talk about it. This conversation gets brought up a lot. I see it a lot in Twitch chats. It kind of I've started noticing it being brought up a lot more when I've been monitoring for Breakout, and it's probably because I get around the community a lot. I'm a content creator and I have a decent following on content, and enough videos and popularity, people in the community actually know who I am. And obviously I have videos of me sparring with Nash and Burno and other poetry and other players that are pretty well known in the North America side of the community. That was kind of the point of Breakout, to get the North America side to have some grow and get some type of notoriety. So that definitely worked out. It definitely helped. But recently I've just been getting hit with a lot of people in Twitch chats or just in forums of Discord. People were just telling me that my Jenny is top 3. Some people say top 3 in the world. I think that's absolutely insane. NA or the US, I guess, but that's what we're gonna have a discussion about. But I've been hearing a lot more. A lot of people come up to me, and I'm just in Twitch chat or whatever, saying, "Hey, your Jenny's really good. I remember back in the day, they bring up me, they bring up Alex Smith, they sometimes bring up Poetry Chef. They're talking about how we're the 3 kings and stuff on the NA side. The main Jennies are putting in work as far as the onlines and offlines, which is mainly Alex Smith on the offline side. And it's been popping up more and more to the point where I'm in chat, they'll say Trey, best Jenny in the world, yada yada yada, and I'm I think people, first of all, I'm gonna start to say this, I think people give me a bit too much credit when it comes to Jenny. I do think I don't kind of just start to accept that my Jenny is probably just top 5 in the North American side, as far as North America and South America, mainly because every time I try to tell people I'm not, every time I try to sell myself short, I guess, or be really humble, people don't let me have it. I say it, people like Crumb, Inferno will be stop the cap, and so many other players will say it, and they'll bring up results and past results, and obviously the last Breakout, just where I got top 4, ended up exacerbating that a lot more. I'm having a lot more people talking to me about where my Jenny is supposed to be in, I guess, the hierarchy as far as North America and I guess South America goes. But I do want to preface this, all right? I'm gonna preface this right now. There aren't a lot of us. There's not a lot of Jenny players. People barely play this character, so we can start there. There are very few reps representatives of this character, especially in the competitive scene. Obviously, the one who's putting the most work is obviously Alex Smith. They can't have lift without Alex in the conversation. Otherwise, the whole top 5 has just gone to shit. But the other one people bring up obviously is Whip. He's on the South American side. People bring him up a lot. He's been making a lot of moves. He's been getting pretty high. I haven't watched him enough to see if he's actually won a tournament or not, but I saw that he qualified for a big event on the South American side as far as online events go, and I have watched him enough to see him get placed really high and actually make it to grand finals before. So obviously people bring him up a lot, and then people bring me up because again I'm one of the few Jennies that actually does compete, but also play her to a decently high level to where people put in a conversation. And I think another reason that I end up getting brought is not only because of that, but because of I tend to do a lot of work, just not on camera stuff, like I guess training a lot of the lesser players, and I end up sparring a lot of competitive players. Like I've run sets a lot with Pace and Poetry and Black and Galaxy. As actually one of the more recent players that hits me up a lot. And even he said, and this is kind of where I really just started accepting it, because even like he as a competitor just started saying like, honestly, like when it comes to Jenet, just only like me, Whip, and Alex that are putting in work, and there's not really anybody else out there that's been doing that with her and bringing out her potential as much. So it's mainly the three of us that get brought up in conversation. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I just have to accept it. The community is starting to say it. It's popping up left and right. Players that are actually competing are starting to say it. And it actually gets to the point that the main reason, actually, that Black and Galaxy is starting to spar me a lot often than not is because, and I think this is where I started to hit with him. It was when Rox invited me to have that first to 5 exhibition with him, or he played on Kagemaru's stream of the first to 5, and I ended up actually winning that first to 5, 5-1 against him. And from there, he actually started hitting me up, telling me I wanted to win the matchup. He doesn't play a lot of good Jennies. He's never faced or dealt with a lot of setups that I've done or used against him in the set, so he wanted more matchup experience. So that's kind of when I think that kind of hit with him. And ever since then, with CEO coming up, he's been hitting me up a lot to get reps in against my Jenny, because he said that he'd never really played Jennies that are that good. Except, he obviously brings up Alex Smith. That's the only one he actually fights. But he actually spars with me because he considers my Jenny good enough to actually get decent enough practice to where he feels that he could actually put it into work against Alex Smith to be able to fight him in bracket. So there's definitely a lot of ammunition, basically, for me to, I guess, be included in this conversation. So I'm not just like throwing myself up there. Trust me, I'm like one of the most humble people out there when it comes to stuff like this, like top 5 anything with a character. I'm always like, whoa, that's a bit insane, because that's a lot of pressure on me and a lot to live up to. But when people start bringing up stuff, it's kind of enough things like that. It's kind of hard for me to just brush it aside. And anything I do to go against it, they just debunk it, And it's kind of hard to, because again, there's not a lot of representatives with the character over here. And even Black and Galaxy said it in Akeem's chat that, again, he brought up the usual 3 in a conversation, me, Alex Smith, and Whip. So that's it. It's mainly only 3 of us. But I am going to bring 2 more Jennies into this conversation, because there are 2 other Jennies that actually compete with the character, who I think are actually pretty good. And one of them I think is incredibly sleeper as fuck. Like, I don't think anybody's talking about this Jenny player at all. The only one that I've actually seen bring up this Jenny in conversation was Toma, because Toma, he's a commentator, he plays Jenny, so obviously keeps his eye out for a lot of notable Jenny players. He's the only one I've seen discuss this Jenny, and I think Nash mentioned him to me one time, and since then I've kind of had a low-key eye on them, and I've been watching their brackets, and they have some decent, they got some stuff going on. So there's that, and then there's another one who also competes online. I've only seen them compete once, but they are really good, and I know that back in the day, Poetry also played them. So I'm going to add them to the list too. So basically this list is just going to be the 5 Jennies I'm going to name. It's going to be between obviously Alex is on the list. I got to put Whip on the list. Obviously I have to be on the list. So the other 2 I want to bring into the conversation is there's this Jenny player. Name is Foxy KOF. And that's probably sounds like very like, who the fuck is that, right? This is another low-key Jenny that sometimes competes in online events. And they actually do really good. I actually watched them play in a pretty tough Mexican bracket, and they made it to grand finals against a very strong player who I can't remember the name of. So they're definitely in this conversation. Also because I know that Poetry played them when he was maining Jenny in season 1. And he actually told me, I remember in Discord when Poetry played them, he actually told me, like, this player is really good. Like, they're actually beating me. And I was surprised that he said that, because, I think considered when Poetry was maining, he was a really strong Jenny player, but he actually told me that they beat him twice It was online, but he did lose twice. And, for Poetry to say something like that against another Jenny player, when I consider Poetry the Jenny Slayer, because that man is incredibly good at fighting his character, to the point where it feels very hard to beat him with her. For him to give another Jenny player like that, that type of credibility is big, so they're getting put on the list. And again, on top of that, I have recently seen them play an online tournament in Mexico and make it to grand finals. And then watching them play, I think they're very good. I actually took a lot of inspiration from them very recently and started incorporating a lot of their strategy into my gameplay. So yeah, Fox on the list. And obviously the next one I'm going to mention is the most sleeper Jenny on the list, in my opinion. And again, only Toma talks about them. And that's going to be, I'm going to bring up D-Rex in this conversation. I think only Alex would know who D-Rex is because you've actually played them. So you know who that is. And the first time I actually heard of D-Rex was from Nash. I remember it was a major that they went to. It's the first time I heard about them. I forget the major. I don't think it was ELO. I remember Goichi was there, Daniel Amato was there. With a pretty stacked major. And when we saw the name, I remember Nash telling me, oh yeah, one of my friends knows him. He's from the DOA community. He recently just got into playing Fatal Fury, and he plays Jenny. So we started watching his bracket path, and we thought he actually ended up playing against Goichi, and they actually ended up getting a game on Goichi. It ended up being 1-2, and that's the moment where we're all like, that's impressive. Like, for them to play that early and get a game off Goichi. They didn't win, obviously, but the fact that they were actually able to get a game off Goichi, I had like eyes, and I was like, okay, who is this player? I need to know who this is. If they're playing didn't get a game off Goichi, that's insane, because I can't get a game off. I probably wouldn't be able to get a game off Goichi at all. I mean, they didn't make it too far in the bracket, but that kind of already had me locked in on them, because like when I see players like that able to do something like that, as fresh as they are to the game, I obviously keep eyes on them. Like, one of the things I spend most of the time doing, more than playing the game, is actually like labbing and watching other players play and taking notes. And that kind of keep me in on D-Rex. And then I learned later that they actually end up winning, before the last chain shift we saw, they actually ended up winning the previous chain shift with Jenny. So yeah, they've also done some other stuff, which I will talk about. This might just be me being humble again, and you guys can chime in and add your own thoughts if you want. But I think fifth, I'm going to put myself at number 5. And I'm just being realistic here. I think my Jenny is really good, definitely. I think she's obviously good enough to earn the credibility that she gets and what other people say. Have I seen Perk play? I have not, actually. I've never heard of that Jenny. Never seen Perp. But yeah, I think if we're doing if I'm being like very accurate and how I feel about the players, I'd have to put myself 5th. Again, I do think, I'm not gonna sell myself short, I do think my Jenny is actually haven't seen him play though. Yeah, that's the thing. I've never seen Perp actually play, so I wouldn't actually be able to gauge his strength or where I would actually put him. But for me, I'm kind of doing it based off of, I guess, I mean, obviously, I'm going to use online as well because of the tournaments, but I'm also going to use offlines and how their results and how well I see them do against certain players on top of their placements. And again, that's the placements is another reason I think I'm going to put myself at number 5, because the furthest I've gotten, I've only played in 5 tournaments, all of them online. And the highest I've gotten was very recent in Breakout. It was 4th place. Until then, my highest accomplishment was 8th. But last week I ended up getting 4th with Jenny. And it's funny because I actually placed right under Alex Smith, who got 3rd. And we both ended up getting knocked out by Terry. We ended up getting knocked out by Turgita, which is, it's funny that the two Jennies in the tournament lose to, I mean, besides Poetry, lose to the same player. But I haven't gotten any higher than 4th. The other Jennies on the list have actually either won something or they've made it to the finals, a grand final of the tournament. So all of them have placed higher than me On top of that, I don't think, as far as playing the game, I don't think my consistency is there. Like, I can't see the two Mr. Karate will not be missed. I'll be honest, and I said this in Discord too. I feel like, and I brought this up too because I thought this is important. On my stream when I was doing my tournament run, I was bringing up how usually when you have to fight Terry in breakout, he usually has your number. He's usually beating you most of the time. Like you've been on a losing streak to him, and the one time I entered the bracket, you're actually able to beat him and defeat his Mai. And truth be told, if Mr. Karate was not in the game, you would have knocked him out of the bracket. Like I'm gonna be honest, you actually had his number so bad that if he didn't go Karate, he was gonna lose. I'll be straight up. He wasn't gonna be able to beat you because he knew that his Mai wasn't gonna work anymore. Like Karate was literally his last line of defense to beat you. Me though, I can't get him there. He just he destroys me when I have to fight him. Well, that's because he used to be my former coach, and we literally have the most sparring with each other out of any other player in the community. Like I have the most sets against him and the most reps against him, and that is partly because when I did play him for the very first time, I actually ended up doing really good against him and getting gamed off him. And from that point on, he was just telling me that he doesn't know a lot of good Jenet players. And at that time, even then, he was telling me my Jenet was top 5. And he wanted to keep getting reps against me. And that's kind of how that partnership started. And he just started to help me improve in other areas. But he literally just kept fighting because he considered my Jenet that much of a threat at the time. And now it's to the point where he could just beat her up. And I mean, that's good because it's going to force you to adapt and improve, obviously, because I do want to overcome that hurdle. But where I'm getting at is I still can't beat him, but you were actually eventually able to beat him, which is impressive. And you were able to force him to have to pull out Mr. Karate to knock you out of bracket because it should have been you in grand finals. I'm being so honest. Like, if I'm being real, it should have been you in grand finals. You should have been the one to make it there. He really had to lean on Karate to get it done, and even then he was really struggling to get it done. Like, it was bad, but yeah, I'm gonna be number 5. My placements aren't as good as the other ones. I also feel like, again, overall consistency, I'm not that good. I can't, like, if I were to go in a tournament and fight a wide spread of players, I would more often than not lose to most of the players that compete over beating them. Like, a lot of times, if I beat a lot of players, it's not super consistent. There are some players who I can enter and confidently say I can beat, but then there's players like, you know, like let's say Inferno shows up, or Nashman shows up, or Scientific shows up, or a lot of other heavy hitters show up, like, you know, CanTreGame. Consistently, I'm probably going to lose. Like, I'm not going to be able to consistently see myself getting top 8s with heavy hitters like that entering. Whereas, you know, Alex can consistently get top 4 and win majors and offlines. So, you know, and, you know, Whip is consistent with his top 8 placements. And again, I wonder who was number 1. I heard Poetry Chef was very good. Yeah, Poetry Chef isn't going to make the list, I'm going to be honest. Poetry Chef's not on this list. And I would love to. Believe me, I would love to include Poetry Chef on this list. In season 1, I had Poetry Chef in number 3 on the list. And Poetry Chef's Jenet is actually one of the few Jennies who could actually beat Alex Smith's Jenet, like, in a match. Yes, he can. He's beaten Alex Smith in tournament twice in online setting, but he did beat him, so I'm counting that. The reason I'm not including Poetry on the list is because he doesn't play Jenet anymore. He dropped the character. He's on Joe now, you know, nicknamed Georgie Chef. He's making waves on a completely different character, so I can't really include him because not only did he not play the character anymore, but on top of that, nobody even brings him up in the conversation anymore. Like, they never bring up Poetry. People forgot he even had the Jenet. Like, his Jenet is a relic, so I can't include him. Because people are going to be like, who the fuck is... It's to the point now where I bring him up and people are like, who the fuck is Poetry? He plays Jenet? And when he brings her out sometimes, like, he has one? You know, it's been that long. Because he's so heavy into Joe, which I think is obviously really good for him. But he's an honorable mention. Like, he's really good. If Poetry was included on the list, I'd literally have to take myself out of the top 5. I wouldn't be in the list. But then Again, the only reason I'm out of top 5 is when I'm adding 2 other Jennies to the list people don't talk about. But yeah, my placements are too low. I don't think I can consistently beat a lot of players. Like, if I have like a shit bracket, I'm not gonna be able to come. Like, if Cyborg was actually in Breakout and he didn't DQ, I probably would not have made that top 8. That would be if Ferno looked at the bracket and when opposite got to fight Juice and he DQ'd. But right after that, I was gonna have to fight Alex or Cyborg, and I said it to Tyler. Well, I know Alex has a lot of good Billy experience. He's really good at fighting Billy, so I think more like I'm going to fight Cyborg, which actually ended up being true. But Cyborg DQ'd. And Ferno was like, "Yeah, your run is cooked. Like, this is chopped. You have a fucked bracket." And I was like, "My bracket is fucked," because Cyborg is a really good Billy player who used to spar with Sosic Nashpan. He could beat Prime Nashpan before Hotaru nerfs. Like, Cyborg is really good, and I do think Jenny does pretty decent in the Billy matchup. Especially like in acceleration, I like to play excelling with Billy for no defense. I don't think I'm actually good enough in that match to actually be consistently whiff punishing the dude swinging his staff in front of me like Alex can. I could do that shit occasionally, but even then I'm never going to be able to capitalize off it consistently. I can't really hyper defend Billy as much, so he's just going to overheat me as free. So a lot of stuff like that is it kind of adds to my results not being consistently. No, I actually didn't see your last match against Cyborg, unfortunately. You'll have to show me later. Also, when I talk about this list, I'm going to talk about the thing that I see these Jenny players do better than the other ones. Because here's the thing about Jenny, too, and I'm going to state this for the record. Every Jenny player on this list, if we had to fight each other, every Jenny on this list is capable of beating another player. Like, I would not find it far-fetched to say that there could be a day where I could beat Alex Smith. Because when we did play in tournament, it was the breakout I got top 8. It was a very close set, although Alex said he was warming up, and I dropped a hit confirm that actually would have won me the entire set, but it was a very close fight. It was a very close fight, And I'm not trying to be like, obviously Alex is a really good player, and he won the set, but I do think that the power creep, the skill gap as far as fighting each other is kind of close enough to where one could take the edge over the other just because of the nature of Jenny. She has a lot of character. She has a lot of freedom of expression and a lot of different ways she can play her, which I will get into because I think a lot of Jenny players bring out different elements of the character. Like, if I would talk about my strengths of the character, I'm just going to be straight up. I'm like the only Jenny player on this list that plays Excel Ratio Jenny in tournament competitively. And if you guys watch the stream or the video, you actually seen that I was bringing out Excel Jenny in tournament, and I was beating players like there were low-ranked players like Krauser and the Rock players. There were times I brought out Flux Ratio. There's times where I played Final. So I think like one thing that I could definitely say that stands out with my Jenny compared to the others is that I definitely do play. I probably experiment with the most SPG choices when it comes to playing competitively. Most of the, like every other Jenny on this list, just runs Final Ratio. I'll play Excel in tournament for certain matchups. Like if I'm fighting Ronaldo, I like it against like Krauser, Hokutomaru, Big. I like using it against players that don't have really good defensive options, to where when I get in, I can just keep the pressure up with hard knockdowns and keep them mixing. The mirror is wacky as fuck. Exactly what you just said. But that's exactly why I said any Jenny on this list can beat the other. Like, that's why if this list was just what Jenny could beat the other, we wouldn't really, the top 5 be all over the place. But that's why we're also bringing in results and placements and stuff like that. Because if this list was based on which Jenny could beat the other Jenny, like, the top 5 would be all over the place because the character is literally wacky as fuck. Like, she's wacky. But yeah, I would say that I definitely play the most SPG ratios in tournament, depending on matchup. Against Rock, you guys see me use Flux Ratio because I find Rock to be a character that's very hard to pin down for her, especially. It's a matchup that you have to be very patient in and wait for her to make a mistake or go into fight. But I feel like against Rock, for me at least, final ratio is just too late for me to get value out of her Red Blow, and her Red Blow being the best Red Blow of the game. It's also incredibly strong for anti-air. It's one of the better anti-air tools in the entire game. It's 13 frames, so people aren't going to react to it. I feel like that's very powerful. So having that, access to that as soon as possible, to me is a very key strength. On top of that, Jenet is one of the hardest hitting characters in the game. She's kind of fallen off with the recent DLC characters dropping, like Krauser and Big, but she can still hit really hard. So having that, so being able to actually capitalize on stuff like wild punishes and your opponent's mistakes while you're in SPG and getting that 10% damage boost is really big. I've actually, in some cases, two-tap people when they weren't playing final with the character. And the amount of pressure she gets when she starts doing stuff like the whole target combo 50-50 loops I do with her, which is actually kind of fake, but a lot of people don't know that, so I abuse it. And that's another thing I'm getting into with a thing that I think stands out with my Jenet. I'm probably the number one Jenet when it comes to using that damn target combo. There isn't a single Jenet on this list that abuses her target combo as much as I do. Alex does it, but he doesn't do it near as much as me. I will spam that target combo 4 times in a row just to get the vortex going. I will get any hit I get. I'm trying to end it in her Red Blow to get the pressure going and establish mix and mind games and a mental stack the opponent as quick as possible. And then from there, if they start getting impatient, I start doing a lot of things to bait them in the DP and super. I try to be oppressive as fuck whenever I'm fighting my opponent. And doing that, spamming that target combo is one of the ways I do it. Either I'll go lower overhead, or a lot of times I'll just stop the target combo at 2 or 3 hits and then do a delayed overhead to throw off their timing. There's a lot of things that I feel like I do a lot more than other Jenet players. A lot of it just comes from me seeing that my opponent doesn't know how to deal with a lot of things and taking advantage of it. And I feel like I probably utilize her Rev Blow a lot more than the other Jenets on this list. Like, again, the other ones do it, but my gameplay more often than not, like more than other Jenet players, is completely like centered around using her Rev Blow, like a lot. So that's another reason I run it in point, because again, if she can get started, she can actually snowball really hard with the Excel ratio. And in season 3, it's getting buffed, so it's going to be a whole lot stronger. But that's kind of where I would say my strengths are with the character compared to other ones. The SPG variety, the use of the target combo to set up vortexes, and the heavy use of her Red Blow in terms of my gameplay to get my opponent off guard and flustered. So those are things I think I do better than the other Jenet players. But however, again, I'm not as consistent as the other ones. My defense isn't as good, especially when I roll, and this is the weakness I can say that I have, because obviously I talk about the players. I make a list of some things I do well and weaknesses as well. I tend to get, whenever I roll, I tend to get crossed up really bad. I tend to forget to rev guard. I tend to forget to block sometimes. So a lot of times I just end up getting continuously hit whenever I roll, which is a major weakness that I know I have. I tend to be very, sometimes consistent, but a lot of times inconsistent when it matters when it comes to anti-airing my opponent. My reactions have gotten a lot better, but they're not as clean as they need to be at the highest level. So a lot of shit that I should be taking advantage of, like jumps that I could punish, moves that are unsafe that I need to whiff punish, my reactions aren't quite there yet. So a lot of stuff goes unchecked and unchallenged. And my Jenet is not exactly the most optimal Jenet. A lot of times when I get hit, I'll get like very little damage, or or the damage won't be as much as I could have gotten. And sometimes I'll throw out a super when the combo is required, and I won't be able to capitalize on a lot of the damage I could have gotten. And that is something Alex actually told me himself. He called out that a lot of stuff I do isn't as optimal as it needs to be. Like try to spend 2 red bars at most, catch her if you can. That's something I don't do. Even in tournament, I'll get a counter hit and still go. This is how you know I'm relying on her red blow and the target combo. I'll get a counter hit with her and go immediately for the target combo red blow string to go for the 50-50. When she probably could have got way more damage. But for me, I tend to value, a lot of times I tend to value the hard knockdown set play a lot more than the damage a lot of times. So for me, if I get a hit, getting the red blow end or ending in a super as early as possible while trying to conserve my meter, because that's another thing with me. Like I try to keep my meter as low as possible, especially with excel ratio. If I see 30% is too high for me. I'll try to immediately spin the super and spend no extra rev to get my bar down, just so that I can continue to use the red blow more. Like that's how big an essential red blow is to my game plan. And you tend to see often that when I don't have her red blow, or when I lose SPG if I'm playing Excel, that's often when I tend to play not so good. But the moment I have my SPG or get played in the SPG, I start playing a lot more confident. I start playing a lot more mixy. I start pressing the opponent a lot better, because there's that fear factor of my opponent not wanting to swing into a 13-frame red blow. But also the other utility, like I mentioned, like I have an actual guard cancel option. I have a tool for hard knockdown and safe jumps. I have a very strong anti-air option that my opponent cannot JD. So it's really strong if people like to jump. So there's that. And I think the final thing I want to talk about as far as my strengths go are, I tend to overheat my opponents, play for overheat a lot more than the other dudes on the list. I know Alex does it. But when I'm like fighting my opponent, the first thing I'm doing is look at their rev meter all the time. And this is what people literally bring up to me when they talk about my Jenny themselves. They'll literally tell me like, whenever the opponent's rev is high, I'm immediately going to try to do a string to put them in the overheat, and then just start pressing them from there. Like if your rev gauge is 60 or higher, I promise you next time I hit you and I have the bar for it, I'm going to put you in the overheat. And this is something that Garo brought up in the breakout chat. He literally like said in chat verbatim that like Trey becomes a demon when he sees that rev gauge high, and that's literally true. This is one of the things that I learned from Terry, learning from him. It's something he was teaching me to look out for. Same thing for Nash fan. They were basically teaching me that the key to victory in this game, and I learned it from Yipes too, because even Yipes said it. The key to victory in the game is try to overheat your opponent as fast as you can, and it's very important that you pay attention to your opponent's rev gauge, because your opponent's rev gauge will kind of tell the story on what they're going to do next. Like a opponent who's high in rev gauge is going to be more likely to DP or throw out a super, because they don't want to sit there and block it and put in the overheat, which is oftentimes why I'm able to make good reads when my opponent's going to DP or throw out a super, because if I'm hitting somebody and they're at 70% rev, I'm like, okay, he's probably going to super here, and 9 times out of 10 they do, and I can end up punishing them really heavy. If they're low on rev gauge, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna be a little more patient and try to bait, right? But if that rev gauge is at 60%, I'm probably gonna overheat you. Like most of the times, the opponents I fight end up getting put in the overheat. Especially if I see my opponent hitting me with a combo and they're dumping meter, like whenever I fight Jack, he's a very big meter dumper. A lot of Andy players dump meter because of the nature of the character, he's very meter hungry. So whenever I'm getting hit in the combo, I'm always watching their rev gauge. And if it gets high, then the combo, I'm like, okay, neutral's gonna be reset when I get off the ground, but next time I hit them, if they don't rev down, and I'm going to burn them out. So those are kind of my strengths. So to sum that up, I would say, again, for a final recap, the SPG variety, the gameplay revolving heavily around red blow more than other Jenny players, the use and abuse of that target combo, the playing around overheat, like, overheating the opponent as fast as possible. And I think that was it, right? That's about it, honestly. If I missed it, I'll probably just rewatch the video anyway, because I'm going to put this on YouTube. I think it's an interesting conversation since I see it often. So that's why I put myself fifth. Now, and again, if you guys start to disagree with placements or have your own opinion, please chime in the chat. You are more than welcome to join the discussion. That's why I'm streaming it, because if I miss some stuff or say some stuff that might be incorrect, then you can say so. I only know you and Alex, that's it. And that's why I'm here to educate you on the other 3 Jenny that we don't talk about. Because this is why people keep calling me top 2 Jenny in the world, top 3 Jenny in the world. And I'm like, no. I mean, you could always make a decision, but I'm just going to speak from my perspective why I don't, when people say that stuff in chat, I'm like, there's more than just me and Alex. There's more than just me and Alex. People know Whip enough to throw him in that conversation. Thank God, because Whip is a monster with her. I'll get to him later. Where do you rank Mr. Poetry Chef? Yeah, I ranked you in honorable mentions because you don't play the character anymore and people don't bring up the conversation anymore. But I did say last season I had you in top 3, though. You were definitely top 3. Actually, if I'm being honest now, one of the Jennies did not compete, so you'd be top 2 on that list. You would, last season you were right behind Alex Smith, and it was extremely close because you both do really good against a lot of the top players. You guys can beat and make a lot of top players bleed. But on top of that, you can also fight Alex Smith, and you place higher than him twice. And the second time you place higher than him, you actually beat him in grand finals. So you were definitely like top 2 last season. But unfortunately, you dropped the character, man. So I can't put you here anymore. But your honorable mentions, and I'm definitely gonna talk about you real quick before I get to the 4th spot. Let's just talk about Poetry real quick. Nah, yeah, Poetry's a Joe. He's honestly, I consider Poetry the best Joe in North America right now. Truth be told, the next time would be Jenny, JCkila. Yeah, Player V's from here. Player V's he's NA or UA or Canada, one of them. He's here because he was at Chain Shift. You just didn't see him because he stopped at like 13th place, I think. But he's in the US. JCkila is actually like the Jenny I had number 1 last season because this Jenny was fucking cracked. Like his Jenny was actually cracked. Like I remember saying like if he played in tournament, he's going to be a monster. Like he would literally be able to come. He would literally be able to qualify with that character. That's how good I thought Jenny was. Like I'm gonna tell y'all a story because I only told Poetry this. I don't think I told Alex this story, but Terry was obviously ranking. He was also doing a rank on Jenny players in season 1, and he had Zeus at number 5. He had me at number 4, which I thought was insane. Again, I might be selling myself short. He had Poetry Chef number 3. He had Alex number 2, and he had JCkila number 1. And Terry said, and I quote, this is back when we were like, you know, still cool, like enough to like actually talk about stuff like that. He said, and I quote, Poetry Chef and Alex Smith are trash in comparison to JCkila, bro. He said they are trash. And the funny part is I was like, I agree, honestly. Like I would also agree with his statement. Look, I'm not even trying to sell you short, Alex, but he was a monster with that character. I remember when people, like he was so good to me at the time where people were bringing up you at the time. I was like, I don't think people know about JC. But again, JCkila doesn't compete, so obviously if I would go back then, I wouldn't put him on the list. You beat JCkila multiple times season 1. I couldn't believe it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I remember Terry telling me, he came to me one day, he said, yo, have you played this Jenny player? And he named it. I'm like, no, but I know them a lot. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. That's why I'm saying now that he probably wouldn't be on the list and Poetry would probably be number 2. You'd have to be number 1. His Jenny is actually really good though. I've seen him. I actually remember watching him one season on a replay where he actually bullied Kula bad. I'm not saying that lightly because I know Kula is a monster. I fought him and that man beat the shit out of me badly in tournament. It was a tournament. He beat the fuck out of me on stream. I never felt so helpless. And I know Alex struggles with him a lot too. Like he does talk about how tough Kula is to beat in tournament. And I literally saw JCkila beat him 2-0 in 2 sets, like clean. He made Kula look like a gold rank. And I know that's insane to say, and I'll have to find the replay, but he beat the shit out of Kula. Like he made it look easy. And I was like, oh my God. Like, how is he able to do that to him? He made him look so helpless. So helpless. The video was short. That's how bad he beat Kula. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. I really had to double take it. I also saw him fight Furno because I was watching replays. this season. I saw him fight Furno. Furno was on Dong, and he actually did beat Furno. It was like 2-1. And I watched the replay. I just saw him hyper defend the kicks, but the kick special Dong does, and he actually hyper defended all of it, and then ended up parrying it. And I had to pause and be like, "Oh my god, that's insane! That's actually insane." That's one thing I gave him credit for, especially. I felt like his just defense was really good. Like he had some really good just defense, but that's for another time. Oh, and Alex, I didn't. Since we're talking about JCkila here, I did actually watch a replay, and I actually took a screenshot of this. I did watch, the only set I saw that you fought him, he ended up beating you like 2-1. So it's funny, the one time I actually see you play, he actually ends up beating you in the set. Even if you did beat him multiple times, I didn't see it. The set I saw was you beat him game 1, and then he beat you game 2 and 3. And I was like, damn, he beat even Alex. But because I didn't see you actually beat him for the rest of the season or the other matches, I was like, man, he might actually be better than Alex. It's crazy as that sounds, but you gotta understand, I didn't see your other matches. So, yeah, seeing him beat, seeing him beat Furno, seeing him beat, obviously Alex, seeing him fucking, and I do not say this lightly, seeing him bully Kula that bad when Kula fucked me up to the point I couldn't even play against him was insane. I'm like, that man has got to be the best. And then it just became insane. His skill to me just increased when Terry said what he said and ranked him that high too. So, but here's the funny part. I do think his season 2, and he doesn't compete, so obviously he wouldn't be on the list. But in season 2, I felt like he fell off really hard, like incredibly hard. I think the Jenet changes really hurt how good he is for the character. He's still really good. He can make it to Garo, obviously, but I'm seeing him lose. I'm watching him fight Scar a lot. He's silly losing. For season 1 record against Alex, I still deserve. Yeah, you're still. It's either one you were top 5. Definitely, you were still top 5. Yes, I agree. Listen. Hey, what's up? This is the first time I actually see you join the stream. It's nice to see you stop by. But again, you gotta understand, again, as I've been in the community a little bit more, doing a little bit more training and understanding how things work as far as the competitive spirit goes, I've started to understand that, you can't really gauge a lot of things from mirrors. That's why I say, like, literally, people can call me like top 3 Jenet player like they tend to do. And I could go online right now and probably lose to another Jenet player. Like PlayMe could probably beat me. I could lose to Doodoo Head online because there's actually a Jenet player named Doodoo Head, and I did run into them. And that set did not. Let's put it like this: Doodoo Head is the player I used to study and watch play. I used to watch them how to replay and stuff, so I would take notes instead of their gameplay. And literally the last game I played this season on rank, I ended up running into Doodoo Head on rank. And when I played them, I don't know how to not sound mean when I say this, but I'm trying to say it's professional without trying to sound like egotistical or whatever. I try to be careful with that, try to be humble. But I did beat them badly. It was like 2-0. The set was 2-0, and I don't think they got around. They might have, because I remember saving the replay and watching it over, and I sent them a friend request after. But it was pretty bad. And I remember their name popped up for me big time when Poetry played him, and Poetry came up saying they were really good, and that they almost beat him when Poetry. This is when Poetry's playing Joe, so this season. He said that they're really good, and I think he said something like take notes from stuff. So I watched the replay, and then I did see that I could see that Poetry was struggling with them, obviously. So I always had them, obviously, in my, my scope. I always had them in my scope. Anytime someone brings up a Jenet player to me that's like really good or something, I always like watch them. But I finally played them, and I destroyed them in that online set. I thought it was pretty bad. But that's honestly, again, I know the matchup, right? But that's not to say that they can't still beat me or I can't still lose. Like, I've lost to Jenet players early in season 1 before. It can happen. But that, again, that shouldn't detract from the actual Jenet players who actually considered like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, that doesn't really prove anything, right? mainly about results and placements and how the people view you and what they think of the players as far as where they stand, right? Like if I go on rank right now and I fight fucking JCkila right now and he beats the shit out of me, right? They're gonna think that, like, if they use that to say that I've fallen off or I'm watching, but it's not that good, that's insane. Like, there's Jenny players on this list that have beaten other Jenny players. Like Poetry Chef, last season he beat Alex Smith twice in tournament. But he's still the best Jenny in the world because he has the results in the placements and it's more consistent than Poetry, right? He can beat Alex Smith, but Poetry cannot beat Scientific. Alex can actually beat Scientific. Right? He can beat players that are a lot stronger. Poetry can't beat Johnny, but Alex can beat Johnny, right? He's capable of beating Johnny. So there's stuff like that when it comes to offlines and placements that play. It's a lot more to it than just I lost to this Jenny player, I'm no longer up there. There's more to it than that. That's what I'm getting at. But I guess if we're doing audible mentions, I can't get the top 4 because everything keeps coming up. I did think Poetry was really good. I guess I'll talk about some of the things that I felt like Poetry did really good that made it very hard to fight him. Let me just say this about Poetry really quick. Okay. You have you actually? All right. So refresh my memory, Poetry. Like, have you actually beaten Scientific? Because as far as I know, I've never seen you do it. As far as Jenny, okay. So I'm right then, because I never seen you do it with Jenny, ever actually. If you've done it with Joe, I haven't seen it. But in my defense, I'd be sleeping. This is why I don't do a lot of online events because I have to work early in the morning, like 4 a.m. So, in fact, when I did the breakout run on Thursday, I actually had to call out of work because I wasn't going to be able to make it. So, a lot of stuff like that, and when they run tournaments, it doesn't work with my schedule a lot of times, so I can rarely enter events. The only time I actually enter events is the only time I entered a breakout, like 7 months ago, because it was 7 months ago, I only ended up entering because I saw that Alex was entered, and I wanted to fight Alex. Because I wanted to see how my Jenny was going to stack up against his Jenny. So that's why I entered there, and I fucked my sleep schedule up for it. I went to work like a zombie, so I never did that again. And I did it last week because it was going to be the final breakout. And again, because I keep hearing the talk about top 3 Jenny players, me, Alex, and Whip, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get in tournament, give these people one more, I'll give them what they want. I'll enter one more tournament, see how well I do, see if they still have that type of faith after I play the tournament, and then I ended up having the best placement of my fucking life in tournament. He did win with Joe? Okay, if he did, I missed it. Okay, then Poetry is a lot better than I thought, and that just means that our rivalry is going to have to be, I want to put a lot more work if I want to beat him in tournament, because he's still my rival for a reason. And I guess I can explain that lore real quick. The whole reason Poetry is my rival in the first place is because he beat me in rank 2-0. Surprise. I'm that petty. But I haven't played against him at bracket about. See, man, Poetry, you talking about rank, man. Come on, bro. I mean, I guess rank counts. You can beat him. But this is what I can hit you with the line where you hit me with, right? Like, where you told me I can beat you, but can I do it with stakes on the line? Right? You said, nah, Ferno with that trolling. He's rival and enemy. But yeah, I've never seen Poetry beat him in, tournament. But shit, have I seen, now that I think about it, have I seen Alex beat Scientific in tournament? I don't think I've seen Alex beat him in tournament, now that I think about it. Because if memory serves, outside the job of memory, last time Alex ended up playing Scientific, every time I see him fight him anyway, he ends up losing to Scientific. So I don't recall it. I remember seeing Alex beat him in rank a couple times, though. I don't remember seeing it in tourney. Yeah, so, okay, if I know you haven't, Poetry hasn't played him in tourney at all. But, well, I'll just wait for Alex to respond to that. But I'll continue. The main trait that Poetry had over every other Jenny player, and I keep giving him praise for this when he played her, and it's something they took over to his Joe, and this is one of the reasons this is one of the things that makes his Joe a nightmare to fight. You know who Jenny did beat in their top 5? Are you gonna say yourself? Are you gonna say yourself? Because I know how you get for your trolling. If you're talking about yourself, then no, you're not on the list, bro. You're not. You're a Krauser player, man. You have to be on that list. But if it is somebody else, then you have to enlighten me, right? But yeah, one of the things that Poetry's Jenny does better than any other Jenny to this day, actually, and no other Jenny can do this, and I've tried to replicate this shit and I just can't do it, is he uses that, I fucking hate you, Ferno. he uses that parry against Red Blow incredibly well. You can never Red Blow against Poetry's Jenny, ever. You will die. And it's funny because I feel like Alex learned that the hard way, because he literally lost a tournament trying to Red Blow against Poetry, and he got countered every time. Yeah, so yeah, you can never Red Blow against Poetry. There is no Jenny, and I will say this with certainty. There is no Jenny, no other Jenny in the world right now in existence that uses that parry to beat Red Blow better than Poetry Chef does. If it comes to pairing Red Blow with Jenny, he doesn't tier his own. Even when you think that he's not going to parry it, and you throw it out there, he parries it, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that? And it's scary, because he does the same thing with his Joe, where if you try to Red Blow him, you go to the Fearless Man, and you get hit, and you go flying, and you just eat damage. He is insanely good at it. Like, I have yet to see a Jenny do that as consistently as he does. You can't do it. You can't Red Blow against him. And it's one thing that makes it really hard for me to beat him, because whenever he starts doing offense, whenever he's playing Jenny or Joe, and I'm just getting walloped in the corner, I'm trying to defend, and I'm trying to do off to get him off me, and he's just oppressing me with like jabs and, you know, typical Joe shit. I try to get out, and I get a JD, and I think he's not going to do it, and then he pops Fearless Man, and I get hit in the head, and I go flying, and I just die anyway. So it's like, it makes his offense incredibly strong. I've noticed that about you. You're one of the Jennies that does it, right? And there's times where I do it as well, but even then, even though like, I'm able to do it at times, and I've seen you do it, there still hasn't been a Jenny that has consistently nailed it. Like, you literally cannot, you cannot Red Blow Poetry Chef ever. You have to forget Red Blow exists. If you forget for a second, he's going to remind you by taking 60% of your life. I would confidently say that I could probably Red Blow against you a lot more, and there are players that can Red Blow against me. Like, there's times where I get clocked in the head with Red Blow. There are times where I actually do the setups he does to catch Red Blow, and I'll still get hit and miss time to parry. Like, he'll never miss the parry. Like, you literally delete the option off your kit. And the fact that his Jenny is able to just make such a strong tool useless in a match is incredibly powerful. It's, in fact, one of the reasons why I think his Jenny was consistently placing super high in top 2 on the list, because if you're not aware, I grew up low, just gotta be real different. If you're not aware that he can do that, you can throw an entire set. There was a time where I was actually fighting him when I was in the lead, and I Red Blowed, and I literally like face palmed because I knew he was gonna parry it, and he parried it, and I ended up losing the entire match because I Red Blowed. I did it. I Red Blowed. I knew it was a fucked up situation. I died. Like, it's kind of like that situation where against CanTreGame, if I throw out the hind against him, and I immediately know that it's fucked because he's gonna hyper defend and he's gonna blow me up. Like, you guys saw me on stream when he jumped, I tried to anti-air with the move, and he landed and blocked it. I was like, I fucked up. He's gonna hyper defend it, and he hyper defended, and he killed me. Like, he literally killed me off that. That's the type of fear that I have whenever I Red Blow against Poetry. It's like, oh fuck, I pressed the button, he's gonna kill me. See what I'm saying? So that was definitely his main strength. On top of, it's funny too because Poetry never, and I still tell him about this. He never actually does crazy set play with Jenny, right? And that was kind of Alex Smith's thing in season 1. He definitely had he was the set play king with her. So how did we counter state at the break? Well, the reason that the hind of the counter hit state in the first place is because they treat it as a DP break, so that upper body invincibility. So they treat it as like when the normal character does the heavy DP break. And if you guard cancel a normal DP break, they get put in that counter hit floating state. So because Jenny's her hind functions like a DP break, it also has that drawback of when it gets counter hit, she goes flying. Should it be that way? I think not, because it really hurts her. Like bad. If you're fighting somebody who can hybrid defend the move, and it's not even a hard hybrid defend, like I'm not that good at hybrid defending. My latest video, when I'm sparring with one of my students who also plays Jenny, I literally hybrid defended that move 90% of the time and killed him for throwing it out. Like that move is not hard to hybrid defend at all. And yeah, it's +1. It's not even +3 like some of her old moves used to be. It's +1. So for trying to go +1 in neutral, your reward is getting blown up, which can completely suck ass. In a high set where your opponents can hybrid defend it, you literally can't use the move. You suck at HDing. Yeah, play V, go to the lab and just lab hybrid defending the hind. I promise you, it's not a hard hybrid defend. You can get the timing down. And that's something I'm actually getting better at. I'm actually starting to get better at hybrid defending myself. Especially against Jenny, I can hybrid defend the hind now. So it's not a move that a lot of Jenny can throw out against me. And it's one of the main reasons I actually beat Doo-Doo Head so decisively when I fought him, because he was doing block strings. Then he threw out the Rev hind, and I ended up hybrid defending it and killing him for it. I've also been able to hybrid defend the Krauser, you know, the move where he does the little the kicks, and you can break the first one, but you can throw out the other two kicks later. I've been able to hybrid defend that consistently, well, semi-consistently. And you guys, if you're watching the stream when I fought Turajita, although he beat my ass with CanTreGame, I don't know that fucking matchup, and he knows how to fight my Jenny because we spar so much. You guys did see I HD'd the Hokuto kicks he did, right? Y'all saw that, right? Now I fucked up the cancel because I didn't do the parry, because again, I'm still getting used to HD canceling and going into the parry off it, but I did HD it. And that was something that I labbed at doing. So by HDing, as far as fighting in matches, coming along, it's getting better, but it's not as good as another JD players on this list who I will get to eventually. But yeah, we were talking about poetry, but yeah, the thing that makes poetry scary is you can never red blow against this Jenny ever. And it's very hard to fight poetry in the neutral. In my opinion, it's very hard. There's not a lot of people I think can actually box on that well. At least I find it difficult, but that's probably because my neutral skills are still need some more fine tuning. But it seemed like he's really good at knowing when to press buttons and punching. At least to me, it's very hard. And it's because of that where I feel like I need to do my red blow, do defensive options against him, because he's so oppressive in offense, but then he parries and then I die, and then yeah, I can't play. So that's basically poetry. If he still played her this season though, or next season, I would add him back to the list. I think, honestly, if he actually just locked in with the character and wasn't so rusty, I promise you he'd be right back in the conversation. No, I get what Ferno's saying. He's saying the plus version should be counter hit state because it's plus, but the normal one shouldn't be counter hit state. That makes sense. I'm pushing my chips into Joe, as you should, because Joe is your man and you're making waves with him. Your Joe is actually better than your Jenny, like by leaps and bounds by this point, I'll be honest. Like your season 2 Joe is better than your season 1 Jenny. Like if I'm being honest, I fear your Joe more than your Jenny. And obviously you agree with that. Like your Joe has surpassed your peak Jenny at this point. So I definitely think you should lock it with Joe, which is why I found it very silly that you decided to play Jenny in tournament, because Ferno said let's all play Jenny. You shouldn't have listened to Ferno. You should have picked Joe. You should have picked Joe, man. Joe Chishep for a reason. Should have stuck with your gut, man. Should have beat Sushi. But yeah, that's neither here or there. But that's basically poetry stuff right there. He was top 2. And obviously Yurikov, like watching him, he a lot of players obviously talked about Jenny being one of the best at the time. It's obviously really good. He was were you the first Jenny to beat Diaz, or was that Alex? I can't remember. But I do know that you beat Diaz in grand finals and breakout and got the first place and won the very last breakout of the year, which is insane. And I believe you were the first Jenny. Okay, it was you. Okay. And then Alex beat him later. And then I believe you were the first Jenny to actually win a breakout. Yeah, I feel like it was Poetry who won it first. I remember watching it back and being on a hot streak at that point. But yeah, so Poetry definitely made waves to the character. He just retired it because she's ass, and he doesn't want to play an ass character no more. Oh, did I ask one breakout for you? Okay. We're doing good. I'm having this discussion about the top 5 Jennies in North America and South America because it's a topic that I hear a lot whenever I'm around, and I can't breathe in tournament chat of people bringing this up. Okay, well then I guess that counts-ish. But, I mean, he didn't actually play through the whole tournament, but I guess he did win with her in the end. So I guess that counts. But then the guys still count you as the first true Jenny to win, because you stuck with her all the way. So, there's that. But yeah, that's kind of Poetry honorable mention. He just doesn't play the character anymore, so I can't really consider him. And again, no one talks about him. But my 4th Jenny, because it took a while to get to this point. Yeah, I'm going to put Foxy KOF in 4th on this list. I'm going to put him above me. Simply because, honestly, you could probably switch me and Foxy around. You could. You could argue I could be higher than him, and that's okay. Especially if you know who he is, or if you don't know who he is, that's fine. But to me, I'm going to put him above me simply because he's plays higher than me in tournament. He's gotten to grand finals, and he actually reset it from losers and almost won. But the person he fought switched to Rocket, ended up beating him out in the end, so he didn't get the job done. But he made it to grand finals, so he's already above me as far as placements go. 2, I feel like he just plays Jenny a lot cleaner than me. Like, I tend to play her pretty sloppily. It's a joke, if you've been around long enough and you've seen it in the tournament I was playing, where I tend to start off very strong, and I tend to either fuck up one thing while my opponent's at a pixel, and they either end up coming back off of a pixel, or I tend to somehow clutch at the end. If you need proof of that, just go watch me fight Evil Nameless. That shit happened so many times, especially the first set where how I safe jump him, I block his super, and I somehow stop blocking and still getting hit, and then he proceeds to guard break me and almost kill me, but I happen to clutch a cross-cut super and kill him. Alright, and then there's literally like another set where I lose. The next set I lose it because I fuck up something and leave him with a pixel. And then there's a that same first set where I did the cross-cut to win. I let him live by a pixel, and he starts running away from me and zoning me, and I clutch up by giving me air JD red blow to beat him. So that's not, unfortunately, uncommon. That doesn't happen when I watch Foxy play, however. He's a lot more consistent at closing things out. He tends to play a lot cleaner against a lot of stronger players, players that are stronger than me. Don't let him live by a pixel. If I'm being honest, the reason that happened is because, hell, it happened against you. I literally, the very first time I played in tournament, the very first set, I literally was going to kill you. And I was going to win that round 2-0. But I dropped the corner combo, and then you literally come back and hit me off a pixel and then throw a level 2 out, and now we're going to final round in that set. And Poetry and Terror chat like, no, Trey, what are you doing? I literally gave you a lifeline because I fucked up and you had a pixel. And I actually lost to you in Breakout because you had a pixel again. And you came, I literally lost to you in tournament because you had a pixel. It's unfortunately just a bad habit to have, mainly because I get in my head way too much. I start to play very solid reading my opponent. The moment they're at a pixel, I start second guessing every decision. Like, he's going to DP here, he's going to do this, I got to do all this extra stuff, I got to back off, I can't let him breathe, and then nothing happens. I give my opponent too much space for being too passive in fear of them doing something. And then they just run over me in the end and just take the entire set over. That's something that I gotta work on. It's been a plague since season 1. Even Poetry said I need to work on closing sets out. I tend to drop things when they're very critical. And for that, you can watch the set I lost to Terragita 3-0 when I had 3 counter hits against him. 3 counter hits. I didn't drop that all set. I hit him 3 times when he missed the DP. And I did close C and I didn't follow up with the Rev Golf Tomahawk break and do the big combo. I did that thing one time. There were 3 opportunities and I only did it once. So there's a lot of times where I have big opportunities and I fuck them up. Multiple times. There's times where I have a kill or a big situation, I might whiff a super. So yeah, that doesn't happen with Foxy at all. And also Foxy is pretty good about, that's another thing about him. He has some very unique and tricky setups with Jenet I've never seen. I watched him fight Metalhead in Tizok when he was playing Tizok, and Metalhead beat him 2-0, but he did a very tricky restand setup that I literally stole for him. Like, that was insane. And I remember typing in chat when I was watching Metalhead play, like, that was insane. I have to steal that. And he literally told me, like, you should. That almost got me. And he does that a lot in tournament. That is something that I took for him because, like, that's actually really good bait. Because he tends to, like, if you see her miss that move, who's not going to press a button there, right? A lot of people are going to press a button there, but it's going to be plus or going to be a counter hit. And he actually inspired me to start doing a lot more stuff like that. Like, he does a lot of stuff like that where you're going to think it's your turn, but it's not, and he's going to get a big counter hit. And it's actually incredibly clever. And it's one of the reasons he makes it to Grand Final or places pretty high in tournaments, because he does a lot of tricky things like that, to where he does things to make you lower your guard, and then he punishes you for lowering your guard. That's where I think Jenet has a lot of, that's where the character expression part of her comes in. There's stuff like that I started doing just off what he does. But stuff like that he does very well. In fact, he probably has more setups I haven't seen. That's why I've been watching a lot of his replays so I can see what else he does, because he has a lot of interesting ways to make people drop their guard. And in fact, it's because I've been shadowing his Jenet so much and watching him play in tournament that I was able to get even make top 4. Like, especially with Jenet, in my opinion, when you do setups that end with the Mademoiselle setup, like the parry at the end, and it leaves her plus, I promise you, people are gonna think they can hit you, and they're gonna counter hit. I did it. I did it to. There's a lot of times where Jack will block what I do, or even all-in players will block what I'm doing if I do the typical setup right. But the moment I start ending stuff with this and it leaves me plus, everybody gets hit. I hit a Mr. Big player with it. I hit a Crowder player with it. I hit a Rock with it. People just tend to fall for that a lot. So I can see why he does it, because it's very deceptive. And truth be told, if I didn't see what he was doing in Labbit, it would fuck me up too. I would probably try to swing and he would counter hit the shit out of me and I would die for a lot of damage. So yeah, that's something he does really good, I think. I think he is the best Jenet when it comes to getting people to drop their guards. I don't think he's the best Jenet when it comes to set play, but in terms of what his set play is intended to do, I think he does that better than any other Jenet. It was very inspiring to see, and I ended up watching him play the entire tournament because I saw him doing that type of stuff, and it's not something that I never even thought about adding into my gameplay playing Jenet myself. So it was very big. Again, it played another big role into how I was able to make it to top 4 in tournament against some nasty players, because I took inspiration from what he was doing. So yeah, that's him. That's Foxy. He's also, I noticed that he also does a lot of fuzzy jumping and fuzzy mashing, which is, I haven't fully mastered the whole fuzzy jump thing and the fuzzy mash thing yet. I work on it, and sometimes I can do it, and sometimes it's not consistent. So he definitely has that edge over me. And another thing he does better than me is when it comes to tech rolling, where he's like chasing it down, he tends to counter hit people that are pressing. Whereas me, I can't tech roll people for shit. That's why I have setups for it. Stuff like that, you know? Well, that's not the setup, but. And this is one I do a lot that I stole. This is actually Alex's setup. I actually stole this from him. I watched the replay this before we actually played a tournament, before I met him. I watched him play the tournament, I saw him do this. So I actually stole that from him, and a tech trap. In fact, a lot of tech traps I actually watch Alex do and take them, and then I actually started getting inspired to make my own tech traps. So yeah, thank you, Alex. You carry me. But I end up having to do a lot more tech traps for rolls because I'm just not very good at the tech roll timing and mash. A lot of times I just get mashed out of trying to chase the roll down. That's why I prefer to do stuff like, you know, this with another setup that actually leaves you plus. This is actually another setup I made and stuff like that. I'm never really good at the whole OS thing here. Like I'm terrible at that, and that's something I definitely need to work on. It would make my Jenny a lot stronger, but that's another thing I'm good at. Well, Foxy, he doesn't have that weakness. He's really good at chasing stuff down, along with baiting people to drop their guard and having better neutral than me over in general. Using the OSs obviously makes his defense a lot stronger than mine. So for all those reasons, on top of him getting actual second place in an online tournament, which is higher than me, I placed 2 places short of that. I would put him above me currently, unfortunately. Like, I mean, actually, it's not unfortunate because I actually learned watching him play. But yeah, I would put Foxy at number 4. He's definitely above me. So number 3, and this might actually be the first where I think people are going to question my decision here. I would probably, and this, you could probably switch this around too. Yeah, we're not, I'm gonna make this straight right here. I'm not putting Whip any lower than, he's not going in 5th, and he's certainly not going in 4th place. Like, he's not going any lower than 3rd, but I'm gonna put Whip in 3rd place. Surprise, surprise. You know, I mean, that's probably come up as a shocker to a lot of people, and it probably sounds like I'm downplaying him because he's like the only other Jenny besides me and Alex that people actually know of and actually talk about when it comes to the conversation of, you know, the best Gen A's as far as North America and South America. A lot of people say the world, which I think is a stretch because I don't think my Jenny is anywhere near top 5 in the world, because there are some Japanese players that I see like Fever and such who compete with her and are a lot stronger with her than me. Do what I'm talking about. But as far as the NA side, which I think is a lot more, you know, fair and consistent, yeah, I'd probably be top 5 for the moment. But yeah, Whip is, let's just talk about what Whip does really good, first of all. I think the thing that Whip does better than the rest of the Jenny players is his use of Harrier B is incredibly good. Like, he uses it a lot better than any other Jenny I've ever seen. Like, the only one I've seen actually use Harrier B that good was JCkila. But even then, I think Whip uses it better. I've seen him multiple times in a tournament run where he'll do this, and he delays it so good to where most people who could hyper defend it, they end up getting this, like, consistently counter hits people. Like, they try to hyper defend it and they keep getting counter hit, and they end up doing, like, you know, getting put into the spin animation or the counter hit, and he just follows up. Like, he's really good at using this and using both versions of these and chaining at the time in where it's very hard to HD. And it's crazy that he's good at doing that, like as good as he is, because that move is not hard to hyper defend. It's pretty easy to hyper defend. Like, even when I fight Nash Inferno, and even Poetry Chef for that matter, and Terry for that matter, I can change the time as much as I want, and that shit gets hyper defend anyway. He doesn't have that happen to him. Like, a lot of times people will get counter hit for trying to hyper defend it, which is insane. And on top of that, he actually spaces the Harry B out so well that when he lands, he's safe enough to block, and I can't do that every time consistently. No, I certainly cannot. There are times where I think I spaced it perfectly to be safe and I'll get hit, and there's times where I think I've done the rev one enough to be plus and I'll still get counter hit. So for him to be that consistent with the move is actually insane. Like, his use of the Harrier B is actually very good, and it's something that I actually try to use, but whenever I use it, I let it look like a dum-dum. I end up whiffing, flying over the opponent's head, and I end up getting wild punish and losing. So I tend to play more grounded for that reason. Like, I don't have the finesse that he does with that move. Like, and again, there's no other Jenny on this list that does it as good as he does, because not many of us even throw it out there. I never see Alex throw that move out like that. If Alex does it, it's very rare. The move, I see Alex do more high than Harry B. I throw it out occasionally, but I don't have the skill to get it as safe as plus he does, and I certainly don't have it good enough to get around hyper defense as well as he does. I mean, Foxy throws it out a lot, but it's not near as good. Not near as good as how he does them. all the versions he uses them incredibly well. And I don't think I've ever seen D-Rex do that move at all. D-Rex plays very grounded. So, yeah, he's definitely the best. That's the number one strength I'll give him. His area B use is insane, and I really do hope that I can get it that way at some point, because it would just make, first of all, it would actually give me a really good tool to get in with that wouldn't get me blown up if I could space it that good, and actually killed my opponent for trying to hybrid defend it. So, and I've seen it in multiple tournaments. Like, I've seen him play in multiple tournaments and fight like a lot of the strong players over there in South America. None of them hybrid defend that move. None of them hybrid defend it. He keeps getting counter hits with it. And he just changes up the timing, the delay, when he throws out the move, at what height he throws out, when he jumps, from top of the screen, from like super low to the screen, the different arcs of the Harry beat he throws out. He's the only one I see use all three versions. People barely use this one. Whoops, sorry, phone call. I actually only started using this because I've seen him use it, how he uses it, and I've actually started getting a little bit better at using that one. It's still not reliable enough to, I don't have it down enough to where I think to reliably throw it out neutral. But he's the only one I've seen to have mastery of all three of those moves. So that's actually insane. It actually plays into a one of the reasons I think he's so dominant with the character in top 3. And because it's so tricky and it's so good when you never know when he's actually plus or when he's safe or what he can, or when you can try to hybrid defend it. It just makes it where he has a tool to get in at all times from multiple distances, on top of his neutral being incredibly good and being very impressive with the character. He plays a lot like Alex, I think, when it comes to like rushing down, but unlike the rest of us on this list, he just actually has a tool that he can use to get in at all times, and it's not easy for people to stop him for using it. And again, I talked about Poetry Chef being the Jenny Slayer because that man is a fucking monster at fighting this character. Again, he will cuck my Jenny, and again, he beat Alex with Jenny. I mean, Alex is beaten, last time he played, he's beaten as Joe, but you know, he's beaten Alex multiple times in tournament, at least 2. Poetry Chef has beaten Doo-Doo Head multiple times, the other Jenny player I talked about. He's beaten JCkila multiple times on rank with Joe. So the man is a monster fighting the character, he's a demon. And Poetry himself said that he would put money on Whip beating him. So, yeah. And he's pretty... there's some other Jenny players that actually compete in different regions that he's actually beaten. That he says that he would put money on Whip actually beating him in a set. So like, there's that. He's definitely not a Jenny you can underestimate. I think again his use of the Harrier B is incredibly good. It's very inspiring. I can only hope that I can get my Harrier B timing as good as he does, because I hate being hybrid defense. Like, it feels like when this move no longer works in neutral and my opponent is hybrid defending this, I can never use it. Now, I will say, the moment he starts fighting a player who can actually throw him out of it, he starts struggling. Again, like I remember the set I watched him play where he was where he finished top 4, just like I did. It was because he was fighting a Hokushimaru player who actually had the reactions to whenever he threw out the Harrier B, he would just throw him out of it immediately and he would struggle. I mean, Hokushimaru is a very bad matchup for Jenny in general, but when you're fighting a character who could also have an air throw against her, and they can not only hybrid defend the hind move and kill her for it, but also just throw her out of her Harrier Bs, it's like she literally loses all hope of having a neutral skip. But that's the only thing I saw stop him from throwing out those crazy Harrier Bs, just him getting a character that could actually throw him and a player who had the reactions to throw him out of that move. And trust me, it's pain. If you want to know what that feels like, just fight Nash. I have sparred Nash on 3 different occasions in very long sets against his Hotaru and against his Chun-Li. Both of them have air throws, and each time I tried to throw out the Harrier B against him, he has thrown me out of the move. It's just a move I could not use against him because his reactions were too good. He just threw me. He didn't even try to JD it or hybrid, but he just threw me out of the move. Like, I couldn't use it. But again, it took an air throw to actually stop him from doing the move. Even like Rock with his air fireballs couldn't stop him from throwing out that move as good as he did. It's insane. He's actually really good with the move. But on top of that, obviously, he had really high placings. He qualified for, like, I think what would be a major in terms of online over there in South America, obviously. And obviously, he's been making a lot of enough ways for people to actually talk about him in the discussion. When it comes to me, Alex Smith, and obviously Whip, they bring him up a lot because he's obviously doing really good out there. And I remember watching his tournament run on Nash's stream where he got really close to winning an entire event. He just ended up getting burnt out. The Rock threw out the level 2, the little shining knuckle super, and he didn't parry it, so he ended up chipping him out. Unfortunately, I don't think he knew that he could parry that move, but yeah, it's kind of upset. He really should have won that tournament had he parried. He would have won the entire thing, but yeah, he's really good. I've watched a couple of events. I haven't watched him play recently, but I have watched him play a couple times. And obviously, I take notes enough to know that his hair would be either actually crack cocaine. And I watched him his replay, and he's very impressive. I will say with Whip, though, a lot of his success, and this is no shade to him, because obviously he's still really good. He's still better than me. He tends to also benefit from a lot of the players not being very good at fighting Jenny, because there's a lot of times where I'm watching him play and he gets away with doing certain things with her that aren't actually real, that I end up watching him do, and it makes me furious because I can't do it with other players. Like, he'll do this a lot. Oh, let's just have her block to show you what stuff like he does. It should be in the dummy section, right? But he'll do this a lot. Oh my god. Stuff like that. But this is fake. And he's able to just throw it out in the entire tournament and either go low or hit overhead, and that'll hit a lot of people in the tournament. And I'll sit there, watch that happen. I'll be fuming because it's not real. And like, if I were to do that against Frodo or Nastic, Buddy math the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it with the poetry. He'll DP break the shit out of me. Like, it'll never cross up. But he's able to do that over there because of the people he's fighting. And a lot of other things he does that can be pretty basic. Like, over there, nobody hybrid defend this. Nobody. He's able to do this for free a lot of times. This never gets hybrid defend, ever. A lot of people over in South America don't actually hybrid defend a lot of things she does in neutral skip, so he's able to get a lot more mileage off of certain moves because a lot of people don't hybrid defend him and blow him up for it. There was one player I've seen actually punish him for doing this that actually knew it was fake, but that's also another Jenny player, so of course they would know that. But a lot of the people didn't actually do that to him. So that also just allowed him to get a lot more pressure and mileage with the character, whereas if you do that shit over here at NA, you're gonna die. Like, if you're fighting poetry, if you're fighting Nash, if you're fighting Inferno, I think Scientific started hybrid defending it too. Black and Galaxy learned how to hybrid defend it from fighting me, so I can't do that against him anymore. Okay, he learned. You're gonna get cooked more often than not for doing those type of things over here. That's not to say he's not a good player, obviously. Still has a lot of stuff that he does. He has, his set play isn't the best either. I hardly see him do a lot of set play. He has some set play though. Like, I'll see him do setups with Harrier B where he'll finish the delay the fourth kick of the Harrier B, and he'll like whiff this move and he'll use the tech trap and then do a throw on the tech roll. There's setups where he'll do a throw like this. Oh, geez, what is the throw tech? There's setups he does, and I tend to do this like I've been doing this season 1 here, where he'll do this and run up, and this is the safe jump because it's -0, right? I mean, it's -0. It's 0 on blocks, so with a safe jump here. He'll do that a lot. And get a lot of mileage here. He'll either press or he'll throw his opponent constantly. So there's setups he does. They're just not like the fanciest setup. A lot of them are kind of like layer, like a lot of them are like basic Jenny setups that, you know, people who've been playing the character long enough already know about. But they still work. And they still get him win, that he still plays by doing no thing. So you don't have to be the fanciest Jenny, obviously, to kick after the character. But that's kind of what I want to get into a Whip. But again, his greatest strength to me as a Jenny player, those Harrier Bees, man. It's insane. Like, I literally had JCkila being the best at that move, and he actually does it better than him. all 3 versions, and it's absolutely insane that people don't hybrid defend it. It's crazy. It's actually crazy how many counter hits he gets. Because people do hybrid defend. They try, but they just, the timing, it makes them get counter hit. I wish I was that good with the move, but unfortunately not that good with the move. So that's Whip. I think I put number 3. Okay. So now we're going to number 2 on the list, and this one is, again, this is the most sleeper Jenet in my opinion. And this is the one that I think nobody's really talking about. Again, I've only seen Toma mention this player. So just on that alone, you already know I'm not talking about Alex. And because I'm talking about Alex, you guys should know who number 1 is. Spoiler alert, it's Alex Smith. Surprise, surprise. Who didn't see that one coming, right? But number 2 is, I'm going to obviously D-Rex, because he's the only one I can go here. All right, I got to tell y'all I got to go into a little bit of a story I found out about D-Rex in the first place. And then I'm going to tell y'all some of the things that I've seen him do that made me put him this high on the fucking list. And nobody talks about this Jenet player. Every time somebody had this conversation and they bring up the usual 3, which is, you know, me with Alex, I'm sitting there like, I always say people are sleeping on D-Rex, man. They're sleeping on him. So I originally found out for him from Nash fan because he's a part of the, apparently D-Rex is a part of the DOA community, he comes from there, and he's actually pretty new to Fatal Fury. And he's a Jenet player. He picked up Jenet, right? And started playing in tournaments. The first time we saw him in bracket, Nash fan told me about him. He reached out to a friend in the community in DOA who knew him, and they told the backstory. Yeah, he plays Jenet. He got into the scene. He started to compete now. The first time we see him in bracket, we see that he goes 1-2 against Goichi, right? 1-2 at a major, mind you, 1-2. So he's like completely, like, pretty new to the scene, and his debut, at least when we meet him, I find out about him, is that he gets 1-2 against Goichi. I remember reading it, seeing that in chat, and me and Nash were both shocked. Like, that's actually crazy that you start off like getting a game on Goichi in the first place with Jenet of all characters. Like, again, I could not, at my current power level, I could not hope to take a game off Goichi, and he's gotten a game of the player who is considered to be the best player in the world. I mean, that's questionable now, but at the time he was the best in the world of this game, and he got a game of him with a character who was considered bad, and he's new to the scene. So I'm like, damn, that already had my eyes on him, right? And that was the last time I saw him. Now, he didn't make it far in the tournament. He actually ended up losing. I forgot who he lost to, but he was in losers, and he ended up losing to him. He got sent to loser by Goichi, then he lost to another player that was 0-2. And I forget the player's name, but I remember Crumb being in chat, and Crumb was telling me that the player he lost to actually does spar with Alex Smith a lot, so he knew the matchup, so we ended up getting knocked out of the tournament. So he didn't make it very far. So that's the first time I saw him. And the next time I see him is actually when he goes to Chain Shift, because he's in Carolina, same event that I saw, you know, Playab was in, and everybody else. Alex Smith went there. So this is the second time we're seeing him. I'm watching the Chain Shift event on Nash Fan's stream. And this is when I was like, yeah, like this whole event is like actually changed. It made his like tier as far as being a Jenet player go up for me, like completely. Like that event, like we're watching him play, right? Watching Nash go over the stream, we end up checking the bracket, and I don't even see the bracket yet. I'm just watching the stream, and I just see Nash where he's like, Trey, oh my God, Trey, like get Alex on the phone right now, get Alex on the phone. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, what's happening? I'm trying to look at the bracket. He's like, look at the bracket. I'm like, there's no way. And I'm like watching it. He's telling me, D-Rex is that Jenet player, right? It's a Jenet player. I look at the bracket, and then I see that like he actually did have to fight Alex in tournament at Chain Shift. And not only did he beat Alex, sorry Alex, I gotta tell the story, you know, to explain why I have him so high, but he beat Alex 2-0 at Chain Shift. And I saw it and I was like, bro, I literally was in chat like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way he lost the mirror 2-0. Like, there's no way at a tournament, at a local, offline local, that he went 2-0 against another Jenet player. There's just no way. I'm sitting there like he had to play karate. Me and Alex in the chat, not Alex. Me and Naz were chat like, bro, no, you gotta call Alex right now. I'll call him. I'm texting him, he's not responding. He's in tournament right now. He's probably gonna get it a little bit later. And Nash is like trying to reach out to his homie in the DOA community that knows him. We ain't hearing nothing yet. But I remember seeing that was being shot. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way Alex went like 2-0 against D-Rex in the mirror. Like, it's not possible, right? So I'm sitting there flustered. You played so fucking bad that day. I remember you telling me that. But you gotta understand, man, that shit was, I was not expecting that. Like when I saw that your name was there and you matched against him, I'm like, oh, bro, Alex is gonna win that. Like, Alex is the better player. He's really strong. Like, well, I'll get into what you're good at doing when I get to you, obviously. But that shit was insane, dude. I literally bro, me and Nash were going crazy trying to reach out to you. We're trying to find out all the details of the match when it's streamed. But I'm like, damn, dude, there's no way. Bro, we're thinking, we're trying to cope and think like, no, he was playing Mr. Karate, bro. There's no way he played Jenny. He played Mr. Karate, His friend reaches out. Yeah, I remember you saying you know what I'm talking about, so I didn't press the issue any further. I remember. But I'm gonna tell the story anyway, because not aware of what happened on our end anyway, and I have to kind of bring it up to explain why he is high on the list. Because, I mean, unfortunately, I know it sucks, and I can imagine how that feels. But, again, I do have to bring it up for sake of, explaining why he's got to be on this list. I remember, Nash in the chat making a big deal out of it. And I told him Nash ended up telling me that the guy finally reached out to him, the homie who knew him, and he said yes, he did play Jenny. And when he said that, I was like, damn, that's that's a big upset. And I remember Nash flipping out on the stream, and he was going crazy about it. And then the guy gave us more details again. And we knew, he said, yeah, he played Jenny. He actually almost beat Scientific off as well, but he dropped the combo. And I'm sitting there like, damn, he almost beat Scientific? But he lost to a drop? So at that, when I hear that information from the phone, I'm like, bro, let me... I need to see him play on stream. I need to see some gameplay from this Jenny player right now, right? I need to see some gameplay, right? So then the tournament goes on, and then we see the bracket again. And I'm watching the tournament, not paying attention. And then I just hear Nash flipping out on stream again. For the second time. And he's like, and he says again, there's no way. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that match. I'll get to that in a second. But I remember Nash flipping out again on stream. He's like, Trey, there's no way he just beat Alex 2 Smith again. He beat Alex Smith 2-0 again. And I looked at the bracket and I'm like, what? I'm looking at there's no way. 2 times? And I mean, this sounds like rubbing. It sounds like I know it's painful. I know it's painful. I know it's gonna be painful to hear and relive that. But I have to bring it up, man. I have to bring it up. He did he not only beat Alex 2-0, but he beat him again in losers and knocked him out of the tournament. Getting your head up playing. And I agree. Listen. And this is what I said when I talked to Nash. I was telling him, I think maybe Alex's was just in his head about the mirror. I can understand that whenever I fight Jenny, I start playing a little bit more nervous. But, I mean, most of the time when I fight Jenny, I play pretty confident. I know the matchup pretty good. But at the same time, I do have a little bit of nerves because I don't want to lose the mirror because I have a bit of pride on the line in the mirror. I don't want to lose it, right? So I'm trying to fight my best, but those nerves definitely kick in. And then I see them doing stuff that I may not be familiar with. I tend to get in my own head sometimes. So I definitely get it. And I was telling Nat that I feel like maybe Alex is in his own head because he plays really good. And of course, I have obviously played you myself in tournament to know how good you are, and enough to know your habits. And I know, without even meeting you at DreamHack and playing a tournament, I knew that you were good enough to have to actually study and take notes on you because I did have to play you in tournament. I literally knew better than to let you go without actually taking some type of notes or watching or trying to study how you play in case you ever did decide to enter breakout and I had to play against you. And that's what I tell people all the time. When I met your DreamHack and I told you I take a lot of inspiration from your Jenny. I didn't think you knew at the time how much I meant when I said take a lot of inspiration, because I mean, like, I was literally studying your tapes and taking so much of your tech. I was like when we played in turn, I remember Thomas saying it felt like it's a perfect mirror because I was doing a lot of what you were doing against you. I was like, yeah, I really meant I take a lot of inspiration from your Jenny, and I watch your Jenny a lot. Like, I tend to watch a lot of Jenny players that I think are good, so I can learn some stuff. And I learned a lot from playing you. I got to fucking double S rank stealing your tech, so W. But at the same time, I understand too, because when I was fighting you, I also got in my own head, and I broke one of the rules against you, which is don't jump against you, which I'll get into multiple reasons why you shouldn't do that against Alex Smith. And I ended up jumping and I lost the set. Yeah, so I definitely got in my own head. In fact, that's another reason why I started dropping a lot of stuff and ended up losing certain rounds that I should have won, because I was playing very, like, in my own head, and again, I'm fighting like Alex Smith, the best Jenny in the world. So I get it. I completely understand. But, you know, at the same time, for like just the accuracy and being accurate, you know, and explaining why I have him here, I have to bring it up. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair, you know. And again, we've already established that the losing mirrors don't mean that you are obviously that's not gonna knock you down a tier. Otherwise, you wouldn't be top one, right? Like, if that was the case, then I would have Poetry be number one in season 1, but that's not the case, because he beat you and stuff. Like, no, that's not how we're going to do that. You still have the best results of any Jenny in the world, so you have to be number one. And losing mirrors, whatever, doesn't mean anything at all. But, yeah, so there's that, the Goichi thing in the event. He actually ended up beating Alex in losers to get to top 8, and each time was 2-0, so that was really big, so I really can't overlook that. But Goichi's put him on the map for me. Then the whole Alex Smith thing, and obviously Alex is the best Jenny in the world and able to do that, so there's that. And he ended up getting stopping Alex from getting top 8, and he ended up making it to top 8, and that's where I saw him play. Now, to be honest, when I saw him play and I think if you ask a Nash fan this yourself, and this is not to take a shot at him at all, but when I was watching D-Rex play, and I saw what he was doing, I thought he was doing a lot of, first thing that stood out to me, he was doing a lot of bait. Like, he was doing a lot of whiffing on his Oki to get his opponent to do something against Reynolds, but Reynolds obviously didn't budge. And I saw that he was doing a lot of, interesting set play that, grantedly, would have hit me, because I would have prepared for what he was doing. But I noticed they did a lot of baiting, and for defense, he tended to do a lot of parry, and he threw tech a lot. So I'm seeing that, and Nash gonna test this. I'm like, and I remember telling, and I think Nash said it too. I'm telling him like, I'm still waiting to see the gameplay that got a game on Goichi and beat Alex. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm just watching Reynolds run over him completely. I'm not seeing him do anything impressive. I mean, besides the set play, that's all I'm doing. The baiting, okay, he's baiting, that's really good, but I didn't really see anything interesting or anything worthy of note to take from him. So I'm like, what am I missing? But obviously, when the set he has on stream, he gets 3-0'd by Reynolds. He barely has to do much of anything. And for defense, I tended to see him do, again, I saw him get shimmied a lot. He threw tech a lot, and he threw out a lot of parries for defense. So I'm like, after this set, I'm going to be honest. Because in case he watches this video, because it's important that he watches it, because, you know, I stand by everything I say, and that's fine. It's one discussion. I was like, I said it in the stream, like, I don't know, Nash. I think maybe Alex just isn't comfortable in the mirror, because I didn't see too much worth a note. I'm hoping it's maybe just because Reynolds is just a beast and he's fighting Mr. Karaya. I didn't get to see much, but I really didn't see him do much of anything. He kind of got ran over the entire set, and he didn't. He had I've seen a lot of bad habits, but I'm seeing him do a lot of parry, right? So I didn't really see anything crazy. Like, when I watch Alex, I'm seeing crazy shit. I didn't see that from him a lot. So I thought that, yeah, I think Alex just was in his own head about the mirror. I didn't see him play that crazy when I saw him play, but that's just the one match I saw. But again, he does have those wins and upsets against those players I mentioned. And last championship, he did end up winning the whole event. And again, he did place top 8, and was the only Jenny he meant to do so. So I do have to give him that. But I will say this though, I will 100% say this about Drex though, because it seems like I'm talking down to him, but that's not the intention. I'm just as a observer, I'm explaining what I saw, right? And obviously, if I didn't think of highly of him, I wouldn't put him top 2. I do think that he has a lot of potential as Jenny player. I really do. I do think that when he gets, I honestly think his only problem, his only weakness is that he's kind of lacking experience. I could tell that he might not know a lot of the matchups or isn't too comfortable dealing with certain things yet. But I feel like if he sticks with the game, he puts more time into it. He's already off to a very strong start. If he just puts more time into the game, starts becoming more advanced with Jenny, and he just starts studying more matchups, getting more reps and playing a lot more better players, he could. And you're not gonna like if I say this, Alex, but I do think that he has a high shot of becoming probably the best Jenny in the world, potentially. I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe, but I really do think he has a high shot at becoming the best Jenny in the world, actually, potentially. I think that he could possibly come for the throne. Like, if he actually continues to grind the game and gain the experience and the match of knowledge and everything else, he just puts more time into the game and gets better at the game over time, I do think he can become, he could possibly be number 1. Now, I think that's going to be easy? No, not at all. Alex is a fucking grinder. So that is not going to be easy by any means. But the fact that he got as close as he did to beating those certain people, the fact that he has beat the people he has beaten, and the fact that he has gotten a game of the people that he's beaten. Yes. Okay. And that isn't even. I'm glad that you say that, because I'm glad you're motivated to do that, to go that gap. That's awesome to hear. That actually makes me very happy to see that you typed that in the chat. But the fact that he's already off to such a strong start, I really do think he has a lot of potential to become a very strong Jenny player, if not the best. I do think he can potentially become the best one. Honestly, I do. I really do. But of course, I know Alex does not take such things lightly, and he does not sit on his ass. He is the hardest working Jenny that I know, and the Jenny that I probably know the most and the best next to Poetry Chef. So I know that me saying that he's never going to take stuff like that. If you say anything to question him being number 1, he's going to take that shit personally, and he's going to work extremely hard to prove that shit otherwise. I know for experience, I will tell him not to do certain things. I will tell him that with Jenny, he won't be able to place at this. He won't be able to win this major or place this high with this character because she sucks, yada, yada, yada. And he'll literally just tell me, we're going to fucking see. And he doesn't actually take things I say as damn, he's probably right. That's worth considering. He takes it as, now I'm going to work really hard to show you otherwise. And that is, again, because of that mentality, it's why he's number 1 Jenny in the world. But that does cover Drex for me. I do have to put him number 2. People might not like it being that high, and I don't know how Alex feels about that. But again, just for what I've seen and tracking what he's done, I do have to put him that high. Even if the gameplay I saw when he fought Radel wasn't impressive, but again, it's Mr. Karate. Radel's a legend for a reason. He qualified for EWC. He made top 8. Radel's a monster. So I probably didn't get to see everything I needed to see. But again, I do think he's off to a very strong start, and he can become a massive threat. So with that out of the way, we have to get to number 1. We're going to get to, and again, I think his greatest strength, obviously, is his potential. I don't think it's that far from the spot. Okay, that's cool. Okay, it's good to hear you say that. So I don't think I'm that far off anyway. If we're talking about points, if we're putting points in, if really that the factor for placements, then he should definitely be number 2. Because again, I don't have any points. I play it fucking online. I play it online, and so does Foxy, and Whip played online too. So yeah, he would have to be number 2 on the list. That's everything I just said. But number 1 is obviously gonna be Alex Smith. I could talk about this one forever. I could talk about this forever. Y'all have 0 points. It's okay, you're the exception. You're the exception to the rule. You're the exception. But obviously, Alex Smith's number 1. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. There's not a Jenny who has been putting as much work as he has, got as much placements. Yes, you've definitely won the most events with the character. You have probably had. And whatever, if anybody brings up Jenny, you're the first one people come up to. Like, there's not ever a question in anybody's mind that when it comes to the best Jenny, they bring up Alex Smith. That is, the other spots can be debated. Nobody will ever debate Alex being number one Jenny. Like, if you look at replay channels, they literally title it number one Jenny in the world. It's Alex Smith's name. On the highlight reel, you had like highlights all over the place. He's the only Jenny that people consider a threat. And whenever I'm fighting someone they spar to get practice against Jenny, they literally tell me that I was literally to prepare to fight Alex because that's the only Jenny that actually beats them. It's the reason Black in Galaxy continues to spar me so much, because he's going to CEO, and again, he wants to prepare to fight Alex. There's that. Yeah. And I think I could go into the strengths that he has above the other Jenny players. Because he has multiple. It is the first time I think where we get into a Jenny player that does multiple things better than the other Jenny players, and kind of helps him stand out above everybody else. And this is where I get into my documentation with Alex Smith, because I told him, like, after the tournament a couple days ago, that when I fought him in Breakout, one of the reasons I was actually able to not get caught by a lot of stuff he does as, like, much as I should have, is because obviously I studied the fuck out of Alex Smith before I had to play him. Because first time I see him is on Floridian Demon stream where he just fighting Floridian Demon. I would just sit there lurking and watch him play. Like, this Jenny is really fucking good. I probably need to keep eyes on them. I don't know if they compete or not, but I'm gonna keep eyes on them. I didn't know you were a competitor at the time. But then I started seeing you pop over replay channel and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, this Random Reach replay channel is got to be really cracked. I would see how you would play, and the first thing that I noticed, and this is like the strength you have that I think any other Jenny is able to match, is this is what stood out to me immediately watching you, and it's something that I have documented when it came to fighting you, is that you have the best reaction time out of any Jenny on the list, without a question. I would watch you fight. You would fight Floridian's Hoku, and you would literally consistently do level 1 supers in response to the teleport to punish it. I was sitting there like, damn, I can't do that. I don't know how you are able to react to teleports with supers, but you know, that's insane that you can do that consistently. You also are insanely good at reacting to red blows in, like, not just like someone throwing at a random red blow. You like react to them in like split-second situations where you will respond to red blow. It's almost like when you're in SPG, and I this is also when I was fighting, I took much care not to red blow against you in your SPG, because I know your reactions are very spot on when it comes to responding to red blow. So like, yeah, I'll fight out like, okay, one thing I cannot do is try to red blow him when he's in SPG, because he's going to respond and he's going to kill me. And it's funny because you also did another reaction. You did another reaction-based thing in our set that also proved to me that I was fighting you, and I was watching the screen like, damn, I forgot. This is why his reaction's so good. I remember throwing out the red behind the neutral, and right when I was flying at you, you reacted to it with red blow and punished me for it. Like, damn, like I can't even throw out that move in neutral. You're actually too good. I've seen you consistently punish crack shoots and stuff like that, like our reaction with behind all the time. So there's a lot of stuff that they can't do against you, and it's the main reason why I had documented on you that you can't jump, because again, your reactions are insanely good. Like I do not ever see you miss a beat when it comes to anti-airing somebody with a high dodge. Like, even when it's like a short hop, you are very good at punishing jump-ins with high dodge. And that's why I said and in the chat and Discord, one of my documents, one thing I have listed, like, I can't jump against him. I think I said that, I don't remember if I said the poetry, but like, I can't jump against him because his anti-airs are really good. Like, his reactions are too good for that. I can't red blow his action too good for that. So that's number one. You have the best reaction to everybody on this list. Number two is that you have the best defense to everybody on this list, as far as like just defending, hybrid defending, and zero framing. Like, I don't see any other Jenny doing that, and that's another thing I had listed on you when it came to fighting you. That's the reason why when you were low on HP, or I had a chance to go for a safe jump against you, I didn't. If every time I went for a safe jump, I would try to make sure you did not have bar because I did not want you to zero frame me and kill me. So like, yeah, like there's literally a point in the video, and I remember going over to replay on stream the next day when I went over my tournament matches. I literally like showed a moment where I literally hit you with a super in the corner, and I was gonna do the backdash fireball setup, but then I told the chat like normally I would throw the fireball here, but the reason I didn't is because I know that Alex Smith is really good at zero framing setups and safe jumps. So I told him like he's low on HP and he has 2 bars of super and my health is very low right now. If I throw that fireball and he's zero frame, then I'm gonna die. So I told him like I faked that fireball because he's not gonna zero frame me. I started playing around your zero frames incredibly heavy in that set because I know that you are very capable of zero framing a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of times where I tried to take into account you hybrid defending, and that is a lot of the reason as well why I started staggering with a lot of stuff, because I didn't want to give you multi-hitting moves to hyper defend and blow them up, because you are obviously really good at hyper defending. And we saw that in that same breakout you're fighting Poetry Chef, he ended up hyper defending a lot of stuff that he did. In fact, I actually lost the set against you in breakout. I'm going to bring this up too, because I talked about this in tournament. The interaction with the 1 minute game is I literally did like close C, and then I did the feint and did the far C string. But you blocked the first hit, but got hit with the second one, and I didn't follow up. I didn't follow up with the high, you got hit with the second one because I didn't recognize it. But I literally said he wasn't supposed to get hit there, and I told them why, because I remember watching it back after the turn was over, and I know why you got hit, because you were literally trying to hyper defend that, but you didn't get the timer, so you got hit. And because I realized too late you got hit, I didn't follow up and win the round and win the actual go 2-1 against you. But I literally told Tat, yeah, he tried to hyper defend that, he just fucked it up because online. And I made it clear that you don't like playing online because of those reasons, because you can't actually play to your peak, and I understand that completely. But you actually won for trying to be too good, which is crazy. I lost because you didn't hybrid defend something, and you messed up, and I didn't capitalize off that, which is insane. Like, you being good at hybrid defending is the whole reason that you beat me in that event. And I'm not saying that I would have won, like, any other time, but that's literally why I lost. Like, you blocked the first hit, you messed up the hybrid defend on the second hit because you're online, and because I didn't recognize the flow chart because I was afraid if you hybrid defending me, I didn't capitalize off the hit because you blocked the first hit. And then I broke one of my rules, tried to close it out, and jumped in at you, and of course you reacted with a high dodge. I didn't air JD, and I lost. So yeah. Defense is really good. Hybrid defense are on point. Zero frames are insane. The reaction time is insane. Another thing that I took note of with you at least in season 1, and that's still kind of the case now, is that you still have the best set play out of every Jenet player on this list. You just kind of graduated from going from hard knockdown setups and overhead meaties to tech rolls, and there's still some setup that you do that still surprised me because I never think of them, and they work in tournament, catch a lot of people off guard. So yeah, you're still the set play king. Even in season 2, you have probably the best set play and the most practical set play and the most OSs for many situations. Like you're very prepared. Like your set play has a lot of plan B and plan C for it in case like they get past layer 1. There's a lot of layer 2 and 3 where your set play, where if somebody DP breaks, well, you have an OS to punish DP breaks, so they have to hold the setups, which is something that no other Jenet player actually does. I've actually taken inspiration from that, where if I find a setup, I try to find a layer 2 and 3 to set up as well. Like if I just find a setup and it's only layer 1, I'll throw it out the window. I hope you feel seen, because I'm trying to tell you that the reason I know this much about you is because I study the fuck out of you, because your Jenet is that good, and if I have to play you in a tournament, I'm trying to be prepared. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, that's why I'm able to say all this stuff, because I actually study you a lot. But yeah, I kind of take that approach whenever I'm labbing now, whenever I find setups or stuff like that. I try to find multiple layers of the setups that I do in case this happens or this doesn't work. I try to find ways to punish my opponent for doing an option that they think they can do against the setup. And it's been very helpful in helping me climb a lot too and become better as a Jenet player. I think I'm missing something. There's definitely a lot more. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I like to mention. You're also the most optimal Jenet on the list. As far as combo damage, you do not leave damage on the table. Every time you get a hit, you make it count. Incredibly, and to the point where it's actually like dangerous, to where I don't think you're gonna kill sometimes you end up killing. Like, you are always incredibly efficient and optimized when it comes to your damage, your situations. To where I can tell that you've labbed out each interaction insanely hard, to where you're not leaving any damage, which is also impressive, because that's not something that I do. I leave a lot of damage on the table sometimes, and it actually results in me losing. So that's another thing that I've noticed about you. Always optimal. Another thing is that your fucking whiff punishment is insane. I don't know how you're able to officially get whiff punishes with this character's stubby limbs like that, especially with this. I've started taking notes and throwing this out a lot more when I see people whiffing. But you're able to whiff punish with buttons like this insanely consistently, and I have no idea how you're able to do that so well. Like, I fear for Billy players that swing on you and miss, because they're gonna die. I fear for a lot of players that try to mash and they whiff, because you're gonna wild punish them, they're gonna die, and they're gonna eat a lot of damage and be put in a bad situation. In fact, I feel like that's where a lot of people end up losing against you, is where they whiff and they're not expecting to actually punish them. And that's actually something else I took into account when I was finding your breakout. I was like, I can't whiff. And there was actually one point where I did whiff and you wild punished it, and I ate a lot of damage, and I said, fuck. It's like, I'm not supposed to whiff against him. That's why I tried to make sure most of the set that I was like always as close as possible so that I wouldn't whiff those buttons, because the whiff punish is very good, like insanely good. So yeah, there's a lot that I feel like you do very well, and a lot that obviously puts you at number one, and a lot of reasons why you're still number one, Jenny, currently, because of all those things, and because your matchup knowledge is incredibly good too. You play a lot of matchups really good. So there's that. Obviously, there's some things that I feel like could be improved, like your rev blow. You know I scream when I see you rev blow like 3 times to throw out rev blow on defense. You know it. That's like one of the few things that actually irks my soul when I see you rev blow like that. And I'm like, oh my god, why did he do it? Please, no, you're playing so good. Don't rev blow. I feel like the rev blow was kind of just the bigger thing that sticks out to me, though. It's just that. It's just the rev blow part. The rev blows are like the only thing, honestly. But obviously, you are still the best Jenny in the world. It's just, for me, the rev blows, and that's what every Jenny player. Anytime I see a Jenny rev blow like that on defense, and it misses when the opponent's clearly baiting it, and they get punished hard, that actually, it actually sets me on fire. But then again, I get it, because she had the best rev blow in the game, and it's a very strong defensive tool, and it's like one of her only good defensive tools. So I understand why it's thrown out so often. But it still infuriates me, because it's like, no, he could have won, and I don't want to see it succeed so bad, and so it's just painful when I see stuff like that happen. But yeah, I think that's kind of it, obviously. And of course, you have the best results out of any other Jenny on the list, so obviously you have to be number one, and nobody is going to refute that. I would hope not. Otherwise, they would have to actually prove it, which nobody can. So yeah, that does round up the list. Again, I wanted to have this conversation because, again, it's something that I see a lot who bring up, and I feel like people sometimes tend to upplay me a little bit, so I just kind of want to give my own perception on where I think I stand in comparison to other Jenny players, and other Jenny players I think might be better than me. So I'm glad people chimed in to the discussion, especially the one Alex Smith, since I consider him to be the best one. I know I didn't do any gameplay today, but I kind of wanted to do live discussion so that people can interact. And I'm sorry we're just doing a training mode, but I hope it was enjoyable nonetheless. I hope you guys enjoy what I had to say. I hope I was able to shed some light on some other Jenny players that might have been left out. And I hope I was able to provide some pretty in-depth detail on why I think certain Jenny players are in the position that they're in.